Welcome to Danja Digital. This is Dana Pittman. I am your resident cheap storyteller and at Danja Tells. And today I'm coming on for I guess technically like a special edition because we usually do this on Saturdays, but it is the end of the year and I want to kind of do like a little year in review type of thingamabobby for this edition. And so if you are interested in kind of hearing how 2020 went for Danja Tells, then stick around. Also, you will get a sneak peek into what I have planned for 2021. And I will also include some details about a presentation that I worked on over the weekend. Actually, I did it on Saturday morning with my small group, covering tech and my process of writing. And so I cover all kinds of good juicy stuff with them. But in this edition, I will tell you a little bit about the presentation, and I will also give you 4 of the resources that I shared and tell you why I think they're amazing resources for writers. So if you're interested in hearing all of that, well then stick around. If not, I will see you all hopefully in the new year. If you're bowing out at this stage, check out another one of my videos, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and visit me online at danjatells.com and subscribe to my newsletter. I promise y'all, I'm working on some stuff. Your girl's working, but I'm working on some stuff, and I would really love for you to be a part of it. So for everyone that's hanging around, I will see you after the introduction, and just as an FYI, you will want to get a piece of paper and get ready to take some of these notes because your girl is about to drop some gems. So I will see you on the inside. See you in a bit. Welcome inside Danja Digital. Again, this is Dana. I am a USA Today best-selling author. I am a developmental editor as well as a story nerd. And y'all, I just feel like I wasn't planning to do this video. I'm actually up here working. But I really wanted to kind of document this for the newsletter, but also in the history, right, of Danja Tells. In 2020, I kind of finally took this big leap and invested in myself and invested in my business, and I decided to sign up for the Story Grid editor certification training. And what is interesting is that I edited my first manuscript in 2007. So this is 2020. And over those years, I've consistently had clients, but I've never really just put myself out there as, oh, I'm an editor. I've always pretty much worked on referrals. My clients told other clients, and between writing and referrals, that was pretty much it. And then in 2000, I believe 17 or 18, somewhere in there, I started working more with clients doing plotting, and I was plotting more than I was actually editing. And it was like my own version of a master's course, and it was like this MFA and story and structure, and I just started seeing all of the years that I put into editing and reading and writing really coming into fruition in this, really learning how my brain understands story, right? And it was a hard because I wrote so much in those years, but I wouldn't change it. And I wouldn't take it back. And I learned so much. I learned more than I probably would have ever learned in that amount of time. And it taught me about genres and tropes and character development. And so when I came into 2019, and I heard about the Story Grid Editors Training, and I was interested in it before, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And I don't know why I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue doing editing or if I just wanted to focus on my writing. But one of the things that I know to be true about myself is my gift is in teaching, and teaching is a part in my book of the editing process, because you're really trying to identify not only what's going on with this story, but how can you help this writer take their writing to the next level. And it's something that over the years I found it very hard to explain how I did it. I know how to do it. I couldn't explain how I did it. And I sort of felt as though Story Grid would help me, because it is very much this methodology that is very concrete, right? It gives this tangibleness to something that is very subjective that I've always loved. And Sean Cohen, who is the originator and head teacher and all that, guru and whatever else you want to call him, the way he processes story gels with my brain and who I am, and it totally makes sense. Even when it doesn't make sense, I know it will eventually, as long as I apply myself. So with that said, I put in my application in 2019. They said, hey, we offer you, like, they accepted me into one of the few seats, and then I started on this journey. Listen, you're here to probably hear about the tips, and I'm going to get to the tips in just a second. But one of the things that I do also want to be very clear for you, as well as for myself, is why I am here. And this is how I got here. This is how you got here. I would not have this digital newsletter. I would not have danjatales.com. I would not have I don't think that I would have even had my services up. I would have probably continued to do what I was doing. And this year was a very pivotal year for me as a writer, as an editor, and as a storyteller. So 2020, I go into this hard, doing everything that Sean said in the prerequisites, which took months, 9 months, and I'm actually still doing it. So it's been over a year of studying and reading and analyzing and picking and putting together. And this is while still working with clients. This past year, I wrote 12 books. I just know, and I'm looking off because my brain is like, to hear myself say it and to process that is to say that it has been it's just been amazing. On top of the fact that we had a global pandemic, we had lockdowns, and it would have been so easy to kind of curl up in a ball. And what I did instead is I found community, and that community helped me to keep putting one foot in front of the other and help me to continue to do this work that I love to do. And it also continued to challenge me. And in 2021, the challenge continues. A lot of people pick a word for the year that they want to embrace. And this is the time of year when we're looking at the next year, we're looking at our goals, we look at where we come from, where we're going, how we see this thing playing out. And instead of having a word, I have a saying. I was watching a YouTube video, which I tend to do while I'm thinking and crafting and all this stuff. And the saying was, don't be afraid to be seen trying. I will put the designer in the description box or in the show notes. I saw that and immediately it latched onto me like a leech. It latched onto me because I made some huge decisions for myself and my business in the past month, and then that came along and it is the glue. It's the glue. And the reason why is because y'all, your girl's gonna show out in 2021. Let's mark it right now, put it in the books, book note it or bookmark it. However you want to memorialize what I'm saying, your girl is going to show out. What does that mean? I've decided I'm gonna do the things in my business I always wanted to, even if it means I have to be seen trying and I'm not 100% certain what I'm doing. And I feel confident in doing that at this stage after 2020. You know, going into the training, still writing, still taking care of my family, still balancing what's going on in the world, really showed me how resilient I can be when I put my mind to it. And the next phase of Danja Tales is really just going to build on that foundation. So it all started when I decided a few weeks ago that in 2021, and actually in February of 2021, I will be launching my first course. Still makes my heart race. Still makes me nervous. But I'm not going to be afraid to be seen trying. The first course, I'm already working on the content. I already have people lined up to sign up, and I haven't even officially opened. And at this time, enrollment hasn't even officially opened. But if you look in the description box as well as in the show notes, you will see a link to join an email list so that you'll be notified when the course opens, because it is extremely limited seating. Because y'all, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we are going to get it in. One part of this not being afraid to be seen trying is about doing things at the level that I feel is the best way to get the best results. And I'm a person where when you work with me, you are going to work. But it's going to be for our good. And what does that mean? It means that a lot of times I participate in things and it's considered kind of like this baby stepping process, and that doesn't necessarily gel with me. I don't know how else to explain it other than to say that I am a pusher. And it's in the best possible way, because I do it by standing in the gap for your goal. I stand in the gap for your dream, and I stand in the gap for the things that you share with me. And so whenever you want to back off or you want to quit, I remind you. And that means that it requires work. And when it comes to creating a course or teaching, that always felt odd for me to infuse that into what I am teaching. It always felt more organic in a one-on-one setting. And this time around, I just said, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to do what I do. And what I did is I've done some things to make sure that I stay the course. I hired a coach. I'm working on it, the course now. I also have told my accountability partners, and they know, and when things need to be in place. I also, which is my number one accountability partner, is my husband. He also knows to ensure that I really do it the way that I have envisioned it, and I won't be afraid of being seen trying. So that is the first announcement. So get ready for that in February 2021. Now, with that said, my small group asked me to do a presentation on tech and how I use technology in the process of writing as well as in my publishing business. Also, the question of what is my process? How do I go from an idea to a book? And we did that workshop on Saturday, and it was amazing, but it was so much. Like, it was so much to the point where when I reconfigure everything, and it will be a bonus to my course, that it'll probably be somewhere around 4 to 6 modules, because I literally covered everything, showing the inside of my Scrivener, showing the inside of my process, how I've made my process almost 100%, I wouldn't say 100%, but really highly digital. So if I had to give a percent, maybe 85% digital and mobile, because normally when we're not in the pandemic situation, I travel quite a bit. And so I wanted it to have that as well. And so, yeah, like, I'm having to get it transcribed and rework my notes and rework my resources. And the handout turned, I think I gave them a handout that was maybe 9 or 10 pages worth of just resources. Maybe 6 of them was all resources, and broken up in writing, editing, and it was a couple of other. I did some honorary mentions, and I'm going to share a few of those with you today. The last portion of the announcements is that kind of going back at the top, I'm at the tail end. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so close to finishing my story grid certification process. I'm working on my projects right now, and so when it comes to services, Lord's will, beginning of next year, I will also have the story grid diagnostic and those added to my website. And I'm launching Coach D accountability, which is more so of like book coaching options to the site. And so by the time you see this, you are going to be able to take a look at that. And I want to explain what that will entail, because it's different than a book chat. But I've been asked several times over and over again to offer this. And after doing the presentation on Saturday, I think now's the time. Why is now the time? Because I find that, every person is not the ideal client for me. However, there are different tools and productivity things of how you manage your writing, how you go about resources and things like that I test a lot, that can help writers to bridge the gap and find their best practices for themselves. And so that also, there's something to be said about accountability. And even if you have a small group, or if you are a lone ranger when it comes to writing, I have found this year that accountability just does something really, really good to your motivation, your psyche, and just to give you this momentum. And I would love to be able to help some writers to make that happen. The last thing that I told you that I would cover is I would give you a few of the resources that I shared during the presentation. And so I'm going to share 4 of them. The first one, it was in the category of writing, and it's an obvious one to most, which is Scrivener. Listen, I say this every time, so I know I'm repeating myself if you've heard me before, but I will say it again because it is that valuable to me that most people do not want to use Scrivener because they do not know how to use all the bells and whistles. And I think you do yourself a disservice if you do that with this particular piece of software, because there's so much value there that you can use 2 or 3 things and still be light years ahead of where you are currently if you're just using a traditional word processor. And I will also, because of that, include a link to a course that I took when I really got serious about wanting to learn Scrivener. And let me tell you, I still only know this much of Scrivener, but I don't care because the parts that I know are beneficial to my process. It's beneficial to what I do, and it is so vital because I'm balancing clients, I'm balancing my own work, and I'm balancing now having courses, and all are important to me. And so when I get in and I sit down to write, it's time to write, and that helps me. So Scrivener's number 1. Number 2 is new to my lineup in the past few months, which has been Trello. Now listen, Trello is not new. It's just new to me in a sense that people kept talking about it and I didn't get it. Like, I couldn't visualize with the vertical and moving cards, and it just seemed like, what? So what I did is I gave myself permission to try it for a few months, see if I like it, and I love it. I am still technically in the testing phase. I am trying it with my business, my publishing production, my writing, and my pre-writing. And of those, I think 2 or 3 are solid, 2 or 3 are shaky. But it's enough to make for me to mention it here that Trello really is like an undercover beast. And what I'm using it to do in my writing process is I'm finding it most beneficial at being a hub for everything that I do, and then also playing with it in the early stages of plotting, like in the idea stage of my book writing process. So Trello is number 2. Number 3 is Apple News for me, and it could be whatever it is for you, but it's really a way to refill your well. I love Apple News to do it, one, because I'm in the Apple ecosystem, but also because it gives me access to magazines and newspapers and articles and ways to just read different things at different times to help generate new ideas. And I actually have time on my calendar where that's all I do. I just click around and see wherever it leads me to help refill that well of creativity and give me ideas to play with. And it just seems like it's informative in general, but just a great tool in my toolbox. So that's number 3, Apple News. The final thing, which I did not share in the presentation, nor did I share it on my Facebook page, which you'll see in the description box, or in my Instagram, y'all, they change it, story, reel, live, whichever one it was. So I'll put that as well so that you can follow me there. But the last thing is Canva. Now listen, I remember using Canva years ago when they first started, and I'm a person where my background is in graphics design, so I normally use Photoshop or the Adobe product line. And so to me, it just felt like I didn't need Canva. And then eventually I was like, maybe a little bit, because I can create graphics and things on the go for Instagram or quotes. It just made it easier. And then again, giving myself permission to try something different. I said for the next few months, I'm going to see everything that I could use Canva for. The list is exhaustive. Like, I've used it for so many things. I mean, in business, I've done it for client proposals. I've done it for videos. All the graphics that you see in my videos, I use it for social media. I use it in my author platform to create all of my social media collateral, all of my teasers, like everything, and even to the point of using it to create videos. And so don't sleep on Canva. So that is my final tool that I want to share. In closing, 2020 was a crazy year in the world, but a pivotal point in my business as an editor and as a writer, and most importantly, as a storyteller. I feel as though I grew leaps and bounds this year, and I feel like it's just the beginning. I want to thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you if you are a subscriber to Danja Digital. And thank you for just joining me on this journey, letting me fill it out. I know there are so many ways that these videos can be done, and the only thing that I can do is be me. So y'all gonna get me in my writer's set of, oh, you know what I mean? But this is me, right? I have one final I don't know if I want to call it I don't know what I want to call it, but I have one final announcement that will be coming in 2021, which is the Danja Tales podcast. Now listen, the podcast has a name. I'm not going to tell you the name yet. I already have guests lining up to be a part of our world, and I want to talk with authors about their books, their writing process, things that they have learned, so that I can learn, so that you can learn, so that we can be better storytellers. How about that? How does that sound to you? If you want to be a part of this thing that we are doing, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the little bell so that you get notifications when I create new videos. And visit me online at danjatels.com and subscribe to my newsletter. I just told you all my business for 2021. And you don't want to miss it, because there are some things that will not hit this newsletter unless it's just seats available. If it sells out based on the newsletter, then you would miss it if you wait for it to hit YouTube. Okay, so subscribe. Also, don't forget to visit the description box if you want to be on the notification list for the launch of my course, which will be I'm aiming for the second week of January, and for it to start in February. And yeah, that's what we have going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Please be safe and have a very happy holidays. You can reach me online at danjatels.com, and I will see you all hopefully sooner than later. Thank you so much, and let's go ahead and kick butt in 2021. Are you with me? Yeah, I did say kick butt. So let's do it. I'll see you all in the next edition of Danja Digital. Take care and goodbye.